evening to one and all present here. Today, we are fortunate to have among us Mr. M. A. Tejani. Sir, may I have your permission to begin? Thank you. Mr. M. A. Tejani, aged 60, born on 26 May 1950, residing at 1 Parade Ground Road, Pune, is the Joint Managing Director of Gits Food Products Private Limited. The company pioneered and manufactured of dehydrated foods, soups and instant food products in India in 1963. Gits was founded by Mr. A. K. Tejani and Mr. H. Z. Gilani. After getting a degree in economics, Mr. M. A. Tejani took over active management in 1970. He has been in the helm since then, and the company has achieved market leadership in India under him. The company has also won many export awards. As on date, approximately 50% of its production is being exported. Mr. M. A. Tejani has been an active member of All India Food Processors Association, New Delhi, and is president of AIFPA, New Delhi. He was featured in an article in Business India magazine in April-May 1995 issue, and also in Modern Food Processing in February 2006. Mr. Tejani was closely associated with the erstwhile Processed Food Export Promotion Council, New Delhi, now known as APEDA. He is also a guest speaker at Symbiosis Group of Educational Institutes, Pune University, National Institute of Bank Management, Indira Institute of Management, Vaikunth Mehta Institute, etc. He has been inducted in the board of Mohindra Hospital, Pune. Under his direction, the company has entered new areas of business. A backward integration dairy project was established and commenced production in January 1996. Dairy products such as pure ghee, dairy whiteners, and skimmed milk powder have been marketed in the Gits brand. In ready-to-eat food range, 30 varieties have been launched, such as dal tadka, dal makhani, pav bhaji, methi matar, palak paneer, paneer tikka masala, matar paneer, aloo raswala, aloo chana chaat, veg biryani, aloo matar, rajma masala, Punjabi chole, and gajar halwa. Other areas of activity pertain to general development through District Industrial Development Committee, Zila Udyog Mitra Samiti, under chairmanship of Pune District Collector. Mr. Tejani is also a member of the Advisory Council of the Indira Institute of Management, Pune, Food Industry Wing of Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. The Alana Institute of Management has selected Mr. Tejani as mentor for the students of the institution. Mr. Tejani is member Executive Committee of Maratha Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Pune. He has been instrumental in reviving the defunct Ram Tekadi Industrial Estate, a project initiated by MCCIA, which was bogged down for several years. MCCIA was entrusted the responsibility to establish from scratch autonomous world-class food testing and an analytical lab to Mr. Tejani. This project has been successfully completed and the lab is up and running since 7 years. I now request you, sir, to kindly address the batch.
So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Very clever. This boy put a small kind of a platform because I'm below sea level. If he had not put that, he wouldn't have been able to see me. I've had the pleasure and privilege of addressing students in this esteemed institution twice before, and I must thank your director for inviting me once again to talk to all of you. Because time was short, I could not prepare a PowerPoint presentation for you, and generally I don't prefer to indulge in monologues. I prefer to have a dialogue. You're all intelligent thinking students. You've already done your graduation, now you're here to do post-graduation. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then let's all do this together, because I understand that all of you have a great interest in FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, or particularly processed foods. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since you started with the National Anthem, I'm also going to start with the National Anthem. But don't worry, I don't sing. I just want to ask you, who wrote the National Anthem? Rabindranath Tagore, correct. Don't feel shy. Speak up. Okay, even if it's wrong, how does it matter? We all make mistakes. And it's only when you make mistakes you'll learn. So, Rabindranath Tagore wrote this national, or what we now call the national anthem. Who did he write it for? Anybody?
Good evening, sir. My name is Rohan. Sir, he wrote the national anthem earlier for the people of Bengal, which was not divided at that time. And
For Bengal?
For
Undivided Bengal, is it?
Undivided.
Alright. Anybody else would like to make a guess?
Good evening, sir. My name is Keshav Tejani. He wrote the national anthem for George Pancham.
For?
George Pancham.
Oh, George V.
George Pancham, yes.
Oh, George Pancham is George V, right?
Yes.
King George. Yeah, you're right. Now, in fact, this is true. Sit down. Right? Rabindranath Tagore wrote the national anthem, in fact, for the British monarch. Because at that time India was ruled by the East India Company, and then the Viceroy and Governor General and so on. And at that time the British hold over India mainly was in which parts? Just remember the national anthem. Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha. That means what? When Maharashtra and Gujarat were undivided and known as Bombay province. Alright? Maratha. So Gujarat Maratha came in. Then Dravid, Mysore was under the British. What is presently Andhra was also under the British, although they kept the titular heads with the Indian rulers. So Nizam of Hyderabad continued, but he was only ruler in name. It was the British who were running it. Likewise in Mysore. So Punjab, Sindh, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravid, Uttar Banga. This was exactly the British Empire in India. And in honor of the British monarch, he wrote this. Of course, subsequently I think people forgot, they didn't realize or they didn't have anything better. So this was adopted as our national anthem. But if you might, has anybody heard of Dr. Iqbal, Allama Iqbal? No? Okay. Well, maybe you should have been born when I was born. Acha, incidentally, in your introductory remark, you said I'm 60, I'm actually 65. Not that makes much difference. My voice is still young, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. I look young too.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, Allama Iqbal also wrote an anthem, or rather, what could have been the national anthem. Anybody knows what that is? It's very commonly shown in the film, Bollywood films. And it's sung by all the playback singers in India. Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle, Mohammad Rafi, all these people sing this. Any guesses?
Sir, Sare Jahan se.
Exactly. Sare Jahan se acha Hindustan hamara. That was an appropriate and correct national anthem because it talks about Sare Jahan se acha Hindustan hamara. It doesn't say Punjab, Sindh, Bengal, whatever. So that should have been an appropriate national anthem. Unfortunately, due to partition, formation of Pakistan and the migration of a lot of people, including Allama Iqbal, to Pakistan, this was never accepted. So this is just by way of little general knowledge for you. Alright? Okay, now we come to the next aspect is that I'm sure you guys want to see some of what our products are. And I'm sure if anybody has had a late lunch and is feeling drowsy, this will wake you up. And it will also make your mouth water. So you would like to run the films? Okay. Sound.
मीठा थोड़ा सा तीखा मेरी दादी ऐसा ही सांभर बनाती थी
मैंने बताया Gits से कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
ओरिजिनल इडली के लिए दाल चावल रात भर पानी में भिगाने का, फिर पीस कर आटा बनाने का, तभी ऐसा सुपर सॉफ्ट इडली बनेगा।
ओए मैंने बनाया Gits से कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
बिल्कुल सॉफ्ट, रॉश में डूबा हुआ, थोड़ा सा केसर, मुंह में रखते ही गायब। ये रसमलाई सिर्फ कोलकाता में हो सकता है।
मैंने बनाया
गिट्स से कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
हल्का फुल्का सोने जैसा रंग, इसके बगैर तो गुजराती नाश्ता में मजाक न थी। अरे इतना अच्छा खमन ढोकला कौन से महाराज ने बनाया?
मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
गुल बदन के दिल की तरह, बाहर से थोड़ा सख्त, अंदर से नरम, रस भरा। ऐसा गुलाब जामुन बनाना बच्चों का खेल नहीं है।
मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
परफेक्ट डोसा ऐसा होना चाहिए, गोल्डन क्रिस्प। खाने के बाद भी टेस्ट नहीं जानेगा। ओनली असली साउथ इंडियन ऐसा डोसा बना सकता है।
मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
इन्ने नरम, बिल्कुल पके आम की तरह। खाओगे तो उंगलियां चाटते रह जाओगे। हमारे पंजाब में दही बड़े ऐसे ही होते हैं। हाँ।
मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
हाँ?
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
लो बेटा, 20 मूंग दाल वड़ा I have made with it.
सर पकोड़ा।
No, दाल वड़ा।
सर पकोड़ा।
नॉन पकोड़ा बेटा, दाल वड़ा।
सर पकोड़ा मैंने बनाया।
गिट्स से
दाल वड़ा सर ने बनाया।
गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
खट्टा ढोकला छेले। बस एक खाया, इतनी मजा आ रही कि 2 पैक बना दिया गिट्स से।
गोटा।
सु मोटा मोटा।
अरे मोटा नहीं गोटा। मैंने बनाया गिट्स से। खट्टा ढोकला।
अरे मोटा।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
और रोज जलेबी खाता हूँ, खुद बनाता हूँ गिट्स से। दोनों औरत का छुआ नहीं ना खाता।
थोड़ा खीर चखो ना, मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
गिट्स मैया।
गिट्स जलेबी
और खीर।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
You see, रवा डोसा इसे हेल्दी डोसा, only a South Indian can.
ये शाने क्या डोसा करता है? ये रवा इडली देखता है ना? मैंने बनाया क्या? गिट्स से।
हाँ, रवा डोसा, रवा इडली कोई भी बना सकता है।
गिट्स से। कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स। हाँ, घर वाली मायके गई है साईं, तो ये मेंदू वड़ा मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
मेरा हॉट एंड स्पाइसी रसम ट्राई करो ना, मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
एक तरफ मेंदू वड़ा, एक तरफ रसम वाली।
गिट्स का वड़ा
और रसम। कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
In foreign, I only ate uttapam. Simply made it with गिट्स.
अना भी मॉर्निंग इवनिंग मेरे हाथ का उपमा भी खाता है। मैंने बनाया ना गिट्स से। उत्तपा गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
गुलाब जामुन, जलेबी।
अच्छा लगा? Sorry for interruption. लगे रहो। मैंने बनाया गिट्स से।
कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
इडली, सांभर।
कैसा लगा? मैंने बनाया गिट्स से। कोई भी कभी भी गिट्स।
दही वड़ा, पकौड़ा,
कभी भी Gits। खट्टा ढोकला, खमन ढोकला, Gits है। कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
मैंने बनाया Gits से।
कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
चांदनी रात है, तुम्हारा इंतजार है, कुल्फी खा ले, मैंने बनाया Gits से। आओ ना।
जॉनी, रबड़ी ट्राई करोगे? मैंने बनाया Gits से।
कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
गले मिलो सब ईद है आई, साथ Gits ने बात बनाई, मीठी मीठी खीर मजेदार या बॉम्बे हलवा हो भाई, जितना चाहो उतना खा लो, फिर भी रबड़ी खूब बनाई, Gits से खाओ, Gits खिलाओ, ईद की खुशियां सब पर छाई, कोई भी कभी भी।
आओ दिए जलाए,
आई दिवाली,
बांसुरी खाए,
आई दिवाली,
प्यार की धुन,
आई दिवाली,
गुलाब जामुन,
आई दिवाली,
रसमलाई,
आई दिवाली,
रबड़ी खाई,
आई दिवाली,
खूब मिठाई Gits ले आए,
शुभ दिवाली।
कोई भी कभी भी।
एक अजब सा नशा, एक गजब की खुमारी, कुछ मीठी खुशबू रबड़ी की, बॉम्बे हलवा का स्वाद नया, दीवाना कर दे बासुंदी और मन फिर भी में खो गया। वाह Gits, क्या चीज बनाए, कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
नया नया कुछ लाया, क्या है नया पकाया? अनियन भजिया बड़ा करारा, सैंडविच ढोकला प्यारा प्यारा, बाहर से खस्ता नरम है अंदर, हाँ वो सबको भाया।
कोई भी कभी भी Gits।
बस एक और राउंड बजाए।
मस्त, सलाद खट्टा मीठा, इतना मस्त कि बस दुनिया बुला दे। Presenting the Summer Collection. The Summer Collection. मस्त, चिवड़ा मूंग दाल, इतना मस्त कि बस दुनिया बुला दे।
जिन्हें सुनने के लिए आए हैं वो कल के अभिनेता, आज के नेता, मतदाताओं के दाता, आ रहे हैं मंत्री जी, मंत्री जी।
मस्त, सेब मुझे आलू मुझे, इतना मस्त कि बस दुनिया बुला दे।
सब कुछ ट्राई कर लेते हैं।
पालक पनीर,
Gits,
made by the best chefs in India. आपके लिए Gits Heat and Eat, बस उंगलियां चाटते रह जाओगे। Git मिलेगा?
You're good at it. Well, there's still more, but unfortunately in this pen drive I didn't get it. The newer ads are a bit of a different type, and perhaps another time I show them to you. But anyway, now you've seen this, you've seen the products and you got some idea what we do. Alright, now, where would you like me to begin as far as this talk is concerned? Do you want to hear the history of Gits, or would you rather go straight into what your future career interest or business interest is and where I can give you some inputs? What would you prefer to do? Yeah? Anybody? How would you like to take this ahead?
First, little bit of history.
Good evening, sir. My name is Mayur Agarwal. I think we would like to start from history of Gits. Then we could.
Okay. Well, this company was started by my father and the gentleman who later became my father-in-law in 1963. The name Gits derives from the two families, that is Gilani and Tejani. So that's how it began in 1963. But I'll let you in on a little secret. When the company was started, the brand name was not Gits. The brand name they had selected was Diners, like Diners credit cards. So we thought that adding the name Diners to a food product, because you dine, you eat, so that would be a more appropriate kind of a link to the food when you say Diners food products. And so all the packing material was printed with Diners. And before we could actually start selling the products, we got a legal notice from Diners Club credit cards that this is our registered name, you can't use this. So all that packing material had to be discarded, and then we were left scratching our heads as to what should be a brand name. So typically you dawdle on the back of an envelope and things like that, and I distinctly remember that my father and my father-in-law were sitting outside Dadar station in a typical Irani restaurant, having a cup of tea and scratching their heads to think of a brand name. And in that restaurant, they put alphabets together and came up with the name Gits. And they said, yeah, this is great. And it stuck. So ever since then, we have gone with the name Gits, and now it is internationally registered and recognized as #1 in ethnic Indian food, ready to cook foods, ready to eat foods. Both categories we are now, and of course you saw the namkeens, which are only for export, we don't sell them in India. Then when we started with the range of products, we first got only 4, gulab jamun, idli, dosa and vada. That know-how we got from the CFTRI, and thereafter, with in-house research, we were able to develop up to the present range. All these products which you now see and which you saw in the ad films have been developed by us in-house. Of course, when we started in '63, the packaging has undergone several changes. So when we first started, we had only printed aluminium foil pouch, direct, nothing else. And what we found was that in those days, because there were no modern trade, and even the retail shop, the kirana stores, were not as well organized or as clean as they are today. And there used to be full of racks. Also, the stacking and placing of the product on the shelf was such that all sorts of, I would say, undesirable products were put together. So they would put soap, they would put oil and all sorts of things along with the food pack. Now, this used to absorb the smell, and secondly, the products used to get soiled because there was so much dust. So we realized that this is, no, and there used to be a lot of rat bites. So they said you should replace or exchange the products written by rats. Now the rat is in the dealer's shop, not my place. But if I don't replace the product, he'll say I don't want to sell your product anymore. So we were in a bind. So we said, how do we overcome this problem? So we then switched to the kind of cylindrical packing which you now see Pringles chips. It's a cardboard box laminated with aluminium foil, and the top and bottom are metal. I'm sure all of you have eaten Pringles at some time or the other, so you know that kind of packing. So earlier, before Pringles were imported into India, it was difficult to describe in such a way that people understood what this packaging was. Now when we did that, what happens is that the pack started to look much smaller. Although the contents inside the packing were exactly the same. So if it was 100 gram gulab jamun, which was earlier in a foil pouch, in the changed packing it was still 100 grams. But the pouch looked big and the tin looked small. So suddenly people started feeling that this seems to be reduced. So we are getting less, but the price is the same. So it created a lot of resistance and people didn't want to buy. But at the same time we beat the pest problem. No more rat bites, no more other kind of transit and handling losses, because these were very sturdy containers. So we were completely protected from that. But no use, because if people don't buy, what do you do? Coincidentally, after that, Hindustan Lever came into the market. I'm sure all of you know who Hindustan Lever is. Yes. Right? Okay. So they came out with a similar range of products, and they came out in very large cartons, the kind that you just saw in our ad films. But of course their designs were different, ours were also. When we saw that, and we were still in those little tin cans. Consequently, when the people saw that big box, like you see Kellogg's cereals, cornflake box is very big, but when you open the box, it's only half full. So the Hindustan Lever did the same thing. They packed their quantity of idli mix or gulab jamun mix or any other item that we were making in exactly the same quantity. So if we were packing idli at 200 grams, they were also packing 200 grams. But our 200 gram pack looked this big and theirs looked this big. So people went by the appearance and they said this is a large pack, that means this contains more. Nobody bothered to read the weight. And so their product began to sell and ours began to fall behind. So when we understood this consumer psychology and the perception of the consumer, that if it's a bigger box, that means it has more product. It doesn't. So we switched over to similar cartons, but we made our carton size about half an inch smaller in dimension than Hindustan Lever, and then it was a great tussle in the market. Ultimately, of course, Hindustan Lever pulled out and shut it down. You don't see those products anymore in the market. So the good thing was, typical of Hindustan Lever, any product that they bring in the market, they do what I call textbook marketing. So newspaper ads, in those days of course there was no TV, so cinema ads, product displays, competition and contest, giving gifts, all the kind of things that you now see, they used to do everything at that time. Having done all that, what happened was that they created awareness and they created a sizable market. But that market was too small for them, but it was very big for us. So when they left, they created a vacuum. And who was there to fill that vacuum? So Gits took off. Then many other people came along the way, competitors with different types of brand names, different types of things. One was JK, another was Vibs, then third was something with a C, I can't remember the name. And there are some local players from Gujarat and UP and so on, but nothing of real consequence. And in the 90s or around 2000, we were just growing and growing and growing. Then Nestle. Everybody heard of Nestle? Yes, sir. What is Nestle? What is the most famous product? Nescafe, coffee. Right? They said, if Gits is doing so well, why should we be left behind? So Nestle began a range of similar products, sweet products. Anybody remember that brand name? No? It was Milkmaid. So they brought in this range of products and typically they also pushed it. And these guys, they can do a lot of arm twisting of the wholesale and retail trade because they've got very good products like coffee and others. They blackmail the retail store and say, if you don't buy these mixes, we won't give you the coffee. And they used to force them to buy. So typically that resistance began, and then history repeated itself and they withdrew from the market. And again, Gits stood alone as the market leader. And in the same way, for exports also, we initiated the exports. Our first export was to Australia. And then, of course, gradually it spread to other countries. But strangely enough, when Hindustan Lever came out with this range of products, and we were trying to export to the Southeast Asian countries, notably Singapore, I must have visited Singapore at least 25 times, personally. And I could not make any headway. Nobody was willing to touch the product. And I was trying to understand why. Then I could get the reason that we were first to enter into Australia and England. And because we started slowly and cautiously, moved with the market demand and then grew gradually, there were no setbacks and no crisis. What did Hindustan Lever do? Hindustan Lever shipped what is the equivalent of one container. Do you know what a container is? A shipping container? Any of you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So they shipped the equivalent of one container, almost 1,000 cases in those days, to a tiny little place like Singapore. And they thought that this is going to sell because they are going to push it. Now remember, in those days, in the 70s, in the late 60s, there were television in Singapore. It wasn't there in India. In India, it came only in the 80s. So they thought television, cinema, of course print media, and then shop promotions, all the works. Like I said, I call it textbook marketing. They did all that. And it failed. It did sell a little bit, but they had overstocked the market to such an extent. And again, because they had the name and the muscle, they had flooded the Singapore market retailers with their stocks. And then when it bombed, Hindustan Lever quietly withdrew and did not accept any products back. Consequently, all the retail trade suffered losses because they had to throw away the products. There were no buyers. So they lost, and because of the losses they had suffered, you must remember that in Singapore, most of the business, especially in relation to Indian products, is in the hands of South Indian traders who had migrated there earlier as labor under the British, long story. But then they opened up small shops, but their attitudes and their thinking still was like when they were in India. And I don't know if you noticed, but you might realize this, that Indians who have migrated to any part of the world, whichever period of time that they have migrated from India, whether it's in the 60s, 50s, 70s, what India was at the time of their migration, they still carry in their mind an image that India is still like this, it hasn't changed. So their attitudes, they think there's no progress in that, and they don't realize what a change has taken place in India. So when they come here, they are astonished. Of course, all the negatives are also there. It's become more crowded, there's more inflation, all these things, but they still think that, you see, why should a tube of toothpaste in India cost whatever it costs, 50 rupees, 60 rupees, whatever it costs. When we were here, it was costing 10 rupees. So why is it not cost? It should be only 10 rupees. Taxi fare. Now it's become expensive. But in those days, I remember when I came to Pune in 63, from Pune railway station to my house, the flag of the auto rickshaw fell at 25 paise. Any of you remember that? 25 paise. Then when I was in college and I got myself a Vespa scooter, I was buying petrol at 25 paisa per litre. So over 1 rupee and 25 paisa I could fill up the scooter tank. 5 litres. Then when the petrol price was increased to 50 paisa, it gave quite a shock. Arey, 50 paisa, double. How will we now run our bikes? But we ran. Now it is at almost touching 70 rupees for petrol. People are buying more cars. So and then it went up to 75 paisa, and then in one stroke it went up to 1 rupee 25 paisa. And at that time we all resolved, all of us college students resolved, we'll put away our bikes, scooters, whatever, and we'll go back to using bicycles. 1 rupee 25 paisa per liter petrol. Unbelievable, unacceptable. Right? So we thought of that for some time, and then we went back to using the bikes again. And now with petrol being so expensive, more and more vehicles are coming on the road. Who cares about the petrol price? How many of you have got two-wheelers or four-wheelers? Over here. Yeah? Okay. So, how much does the petrol price affect you? Do you use your bike less because petrol is costing so much? No. You go for nice long rides, like they advertise on TV. I noticed when whether it's a car or a scooter or anything, when they show an ad on TV, road is absolutely clear. There's only one bike or one car. But when you actually come out, then what do you see? Chaos. So often I think how wonderful it would be if we could live life according to advertisements. Everything is wonderful in the ads. Okay. So broadly, this is what happened. And as I told you, when Hindustan Lever did all this thing and the retailers suffered losses because of their mentality and attitude, they refused to touch this kind of category of products after that. So all my visits, all my struggles to get somebody to buy Gits in Singapore failed. And we were not able to export to Singapore at all. Till around, I think in the late 90s or early 2000 odd period, there is one mega store in Singapore. Anybody been to Singapore? Yeah? You've been to Singapore? Yes. Right. You? Sorry?
Mustafa.
Correct. The name of the store is Muhammad Mustafa, and if you land at Singapore airport and the Chinese taxi driver recognizes you as an Indian, he will straight away tell you, if you ask him where should I go for shopping, he said go to Mustafa. It's a multi-storied building, I think 5 floors, and he sells everything under the sun. Mustafa. Alright, so you can get textiles, you can get electronic goods, cameras, toiletries, food products, raw items like dal, rice, groceries, spices, you name it, that guy has got it. And he has no branches. One place only, one shop, multi-storied building, and it's a kind of an icon, or you might say a landmark, a tourist spot in Singapore. That fellow, Muhammad Mustafa, suddenly what got into his head, we don't know, but we are very thankful. He said, I want Gits. And we told him, okay, you take it, sell in your shop, supply it to all the other retail counters as well. He said, no, I won't do that. I will sell only in my shop. But you will be satisfied with the sale you get. So he refused. Because I say, I have no time to do distribution. And he buys containers and he sells it in his own shop. Ultimately, because he refused to do so, we told him that, listen, this is not on. We would like to spread this product in the market. Yeah, so you allow us to appoint another distributor who will do this kind of marketing for us. And he said, fine, go ahead. Because he is not scared that if it is available in other shops, his business will suffer. He is so strong. He was able to do that. So he said, go ahead. And we have done that. So now our products are widely distributed in Singapore. And Muhammad Mustafa, of course, is still the king. So like she said, Mustafa. See how everybody remembers the name Mustafa. That's the name of the store. So that's the story. Then of course we spread to Australia, New Zealand, then European countries, Gulf countries, USA, Canada, of course, there. Only place even Africa, few places we've been able to penetrate. The only place we have not yet been able to set foot into is South America, that half of the continent. We haven't been able to penetrate. And the other two big markets is Russia and China. We still haven't been able to make any headway there. But the reason is in China that there is a very heavy import duty on food products. Now products go to Hong Kong and some of them are smuggled from Hong Kong into mainland China because they are two separate countries still. Although now it is run by the Chinese government, not by the British government, The Chinese have deliberately as a policy said that for the next 50 years, they will allow it to run as an independent colony as it was under the British. They're still doing that, right? So products are going to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong, they are being smuggled into mainland China in a very small way. Russia, not at all. South America, there's no shipping. Russia, their language problem. You must have read recently that now Russians have come shopping to India, particularly for dairy products because of the political reasons. They have got into a scrap with the European Union and the US about Chechnya and other things, and they put an embargo on Russia. So all the dairy products that they were buying from European countries and from USA, they have now stopped supplying. Now they still need those products, so now they started coming to India and they are starting a round of inspection of the Indian dairy plants in order to be able to decide which is a plant which they consider satisfactory in terms of hygiene, processing and various other parameters, so that they can identify those particular plants and buy products from there for sale in Russia. So this is broadly the scenario. Okay, now do you guys have any questions? Yes.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shreya. Sir, as we know, FMCG sector is one of those areas which is always increasing and growing in market. So with so many competitors, what your brand managers are expecting and looking for from their creative agencies?
When you say brand manager, see, I often find that people confuse product variants with brands. So are you talking about, because we have only one brand, Gits.
Yes, yes.
Alright? So what are you talking about? Are you saying
particularly
only this brand?
Yes.
Yeah? Yes. We've got variants, right? Yeah. Well, so what we do is to see that our brand becomes stronger and how we can tackle competition in a cost-effective manner so that our product grows. Now, one of the best ways of fighting competition is to ensure consistent product quality. So in our company, for example, we, apart from having all the quality management systems and everything, our quality policy has always been, we will not sell what we are not willing to eat ourselves. Now, if it comes to eating yourself, what kind of food would you like to eat? Clean, hygienic, tasty, best ingredients, right? All that is correct? Yeah, you like to eat all the really the finest kind of thing that you can possibly get. Good recipes, all the preparation and so on. So that's the motto we live by. Just as you would like to eat something that's very good, tasty, delicious, very clean, and you can trust it. That's exactly the policy we follow. And if we feel that this product there's something in it that is not okay, it's rejected. We will not sell what we are not willing to eat ourselves. If we are not willing to eat it, we have no right to sell it. So this is the policy that keeps us ahead. And we ensure that we always keep the product going there. We take care of the packaging, we take care of the distribution, and above all, we take care of consumer complaints. You should not imagine that we don't get any. I will give you some good examples. Okay. So, you will see in India, I think Gits was the first company in 1970 when I joined to put a product guarantee on every pack. Printed. Nowadays, of course, you see all sorts of products have helpline, consumer helpline, all sorts of things over there. But this did not exist in 1970. So when I proposed to introduce this printed guarantee, because I had seen it abroad, I said, why should Indian consumers not deserve a similar guarantee? Again, morals and ethics was, if you as a consumer are paying good money, you are entitled to a good product. So, if you are not satisfied with the product, however good I might think it is, you deserve to either get a replacement to your satisfaction or get your money back. No questions asked. In India, still in terms of replacement, people tend to ask lots of questions. Why you brought it back? What's wrong with it? Hey, you made a mistake. You know, things like that. They don't come forward and say, okay, you don't want it, end of story, here's your money. This is what we practice entire world. It's not yet come here. So, when I suggested this, my seniors at that time said that, see, if we do this, you know, Indians are dishonest. Just imagine, even in 1970, the general perception of Indians about themselves was that they are dishonest. Now, of course, it's got to an extreme, but that was the story then. So what? They said, okay, because people are dishonest, they will buy the product, enjoy it, and even though they have no complaint, because they read this printed guarantee, they will say, oh, I'm not happy with this product, give my money back, or give me another pack. Quite possible. So there was quite an argument on this issue, and then ultimately the compromise solution was, okay, we'll experiment with it, we'll try it. If the reaction is that we get a flood of complaints and said that give our money back or give us another pack, we'll understand that this is not going to work in India, or at least not in the 70s. And if we don't find that happening, then we'll continue. So guess what happened? Anybody like to guess? No? So everybody is having a nice smile on their faces, but nobody is saying anything. Well, the good news is that what was expected did not happen. We did not receive a flood of complaints, so which proves the theory wrong that all Indians are dishonest. They are not. And we did not receive complaints other than very genuine ones. Now, what kind of complaints did we receive? So, some would say, when we try to make gulab jamun, madam makes very good gulab jamun, so I should not say this in front of her. But they say, when we are frying the gulab jamun, it tends to disintegrate, breaks up. Yeah, so why is that happening? Now, if the oil is too hot, this can happen. Otherwise, they say, you know, we fried the gulab jamun, it was fine, then we put it in syrup to absorb the syrup. But it did absorb the syrup right up to the core. Now, again, if you over fry the gulab jamun, then it forms a very hard external surface. And syrup cannot penetrate through that. It takes much longer and it penetrates much more slowly. And we are always in a great hurry to eat. So when you start, oh, now it must have done, they take it out and find, oh, it didn't reach the center. So in that kind of situation, we would explain. And then, see, there is no fault on our side. If the consumer has not followed directions properly, how can it be my mistake? Right? So, we would never ever say, tell a customer he is wrong. On the contrary, a letter would go from the chairman acknowledging the complaint, and first thing we would say, we are very sorry you had a bad experience. Apology. And then say, okay, from what we can infer, maybe this has happened, it has, see, oil was overheated, or this oil, it was not kept in the syrup for long enough, and whatever the experience. But nevertheless, we are sending you 2 packets complimentary, so that you can try again, and then this time if you follow the tips we are giving you, and then tell us how it was. People were floored. They said, who is this company that treats us with so much respect and dignity, that believes us and does not challenge us and say, no, no, you must have done something wrong. In those days, any company, whether it was for Godrej, whether it was Always, whether it was anybody, whether it was refrigerator, radio, TV, any damn thing you ask for, if you pointed out a defect in the product, they would immediately say, no, our systems are perfect, we can never have a defective product. You goofed, there's something wrong, you did wrong, that's why it's not working. They never said that, yes, we can also make mistakes. But in Gits, we had the humility to accept that we are also human beings, and with the best of care, with the best of intentions, we can still make mistakes. So we never shy away and we never hesitate to accept mistakes. So this saga continued, And we got all sorts of different types of complaints. So like one recent one which came from England, British gentleman wrote to us saying, I bought your Gits sambar mix and it's terrible, terrible, terrible. What? see, I put water, I put it to boil and I tasted it and it was nothing but salt. What kind of product? Then we said I added more water and it was still nothing but salt. Then I added still more water. Still very salty, I had to throw the product away. So that one gave us quite a start. So we don't do that kind of thing. So first of all, we rechecked the entire product formulation. We rechecked, we prepared the sample again, we had control sample of that batch, we checked it out. Perfectly alright. Then we replied. Now of course all these things go by email. In those days it was all snail mail. So this is the current one I'm telling you. It has happened in 2014. Right? Now we are in 2015. So it happened in late 2014. So we replied to him that, sir, you see, according to the standard formula that we have, this is a dry product and it requires dilution when you add water and boil it, so it gets diluted. So in the dry product, we are adding 1% salt in order to give the food, the sambar after dilution cooking. In the dry mix, we are adding 1%. Now please listen to this carefully. And you are supposed to dilute it 6 times. And therefore, you are supposed to add 1.2 liters of water. That is 1200 milliliters of water. If by adding that much water, the salt percentage comes down proportionately to 1/6. When you have increased the total mass, including water, by this much. So, if this much salt is required to good taste, and in terms of sodium content, we gave all the details. It's nothing much. And if you add vegetables of your choice, see, people like to add tomatoes, some people like to add potatoes, some people like to add other vegetables, the salt content will go down still further. So, see, we respectfully would like to submit that, there is something wrong. So, we get an email reply from that gentleman. Very apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. But see, your direction says 1200 milliliters. I read it as 200. So I put only 200 ml of water. Now obviously, if you put that but less quantity of water, it will taste more salty. Then he said, I added more water. Remember, he said that 3 times. So he added more water. How much more water did he add? Another 200. Then third time he added another 200. And then he threw it away. But you never tell a customer he is wrong, even if he is wrong. So you heard all this in your thing. The people who had to tell you, customer is always right, even if he is wrong. If the customer is wrong, refer to rule number 1. So that's how we maintain. Now what happens is the kind of goodwill that we can create by doing this. We replied to him and we said, please tag in and we will send you samples. We have so many other products. What else would you like to try? It creates a tremendous impact and tremendous goodwill. Now that fellow will go around in England telling all his friends and neighbors, I tried Gits and I moved and this one, and the company is so nice, they give me extra packs and they've given me such a lovely response. Yeah, I'm going to always buy Gits. Now if he tells 10 other people this experience, all those people will immediately start feeling goodwill for Gits and they say, okay, then why should we buy anybody? Let's stick to Gits. And because we have created a huge mass of goodwill like this. Now in those days, early in the 70s, remember, telephones did not work. Mobiles were out of the question. Telephones didn't work. So we could not call even within India, let alone call overseas. But now email is there, you can instantly call any part of the world. So now we have added to our response. So what we now do is, because most of the complaints come by email, if the complainant has not given us their call number or any address, first thing we write back to say an interim reply that, okay, sorry if you had a bad experience, but please give us your contact phone number and tell us what time we should call you. What is your convenient time? And then we will look into that, then we will try to see, will satisfy you. Then they reply and give the numbers, then our quality assurance manager talks to them and tries to understand what the problem is. And thereafter, then we follow the rest of the process, give them the replacement, they are delighted. Customers are delighted. But all customers are not honest. Some obviously will try some stunts. Right? So we had one such experience again in 2014. You want to hear it?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll tell you. One consumer in Punjab, I think it was near Ambala, bought Gits Rava Idli. Okay, and Punjabi then sent us a complaint with photographs. What was the complaint? He says that, you see, idli was served at our, for breakfast at our breakfast table, and what we found in the idli right on top were big cockroaches, dead cockroaches. How nice. So, and we ate it and we were hospitalized and we had vomiting and so on. So what? So you pay us 5 lakh rupees compensation. So what should we do? You are going to face these situations in your life. So you'll have to decide how you're going to deal with them. So what should we do? Any suggestions? See, now you've understood Gits policy, Gits ethics, Gits values. Customer is always right, even if he is wrong. But what if he is dishonest? So there's a difference being genuinely wrong, like that English gentleman who by mistake added 200 ml of water instead of 1200, genuine mistake. So customer is always right, even if he is wrong. But if the customer is dishonest, what should we do? Don't know what to do. So should we pay the 5 lakhs? No, then what should we do? See, you are saying don't pay 5 lakhs. Yes, we didn't pay the 5 lakhs. Incidentally, then he brought his demand down to 2 lakhs. But we didn't pay the 2 lakhs either. So, what should we do? How are we going to deal with this problem? Okay, since you don't want to tell me how you will deal with the problem, I will tell you how I dealt with the problem. So we talked to, as I told you, we always ask for phone numbers. So we talked to that gentleman and said that, okay, first of all, where did you buy this from? So one of these big hypermarket kind of thing, he picked it up from there. So we asked him that you give us the batch number and all that. Then we told our salespeople in the area, go to that shop. Whatever remaining packets are still lying there, unsold, pick up those. So he picked up. I said, courier it to Pune. So it came here. Then what did we do? First, we had the control sample, we checked it, it was perfectly alright. There were no cockroaches, there was nothing. Let alone, see, if you say there were no cockroaches, but there was some other insect. No, there was nothing. It was just a pure product. So then we said, if we tell this joker that we have in fact opened the control sample and found it to be perfect, we say you are lying. How do I know what you found and why what you are telling me? Right? So how do you develop credibility? So what we did was, from the sample that came back from the shop, unopened, sealed sample, original pack, we gave it to a laboratory in Pune for an independent evaluation. So that we said, you take this sealed pack, you open it, check the contents and give your report. What is in that pack? They did that, there was obviously nothing. Then we talked to that fellow and we explained step by step. See, you say you bought this pack. Fine. Then what happened? Okay. Now you are saying you wanted to have idlis for breakfast. Okay. So first the pack will go to the kitchen. Where will the idlis be made? Not on the dining table. So pack went to the kitchen and it was opened. Now the outer box is removed and there is an inner bag which actually contains the powder, which you know as you use it, right? Now then you cut open that inner plastic pouch and put that entire contents in a vessel before you add water, right? Because you have to have a container, no? Otherwise where will you put that powder? You can't drop it on the floor. So you put it there. Now when you are pouring it into that vessel, from the pouch into the vessel, the powder, obviously you are looking how you are pouring it, because otherwise if you are not looking you might spill it. So you are looking. Did you notice any cockroaches? Okay. Let's say you are not looking. You are so clever that we just hold it and keep the eyes closed and put it into the vessel. No, I did look. Fine. So what is the next step? The next step is, according to the directions on the bag, to add the prescribed quantity of water. Now, how many of you have seen cockroaches? Everybody seen cockroaches? Some girls are not putting up their hands. You have seen the cockroach, right? What do you think of a cockroach? Very repulsive. Yeah? But how fast it moves. Have you seen? You try to kill a cockroach from here to there, it will go in a split second, it's run. And it will hide in some corner and you can't get to it. Right? Everybody agrees? Yes, sir. Okay. Now, let us see, try to imagine, use your imagination, that here's the powder, the mix in the vessel. It may be a stainless steel vessel, it may be anything. It's there. Now, let us say there are cockroaches. Okay? What do you think would happen? If there were cockroaches in the pack and the pack was opened and poured in the vessel, what would happen? The cockroaches obviously would start moving and become visible, and they were big size. Okay, so they would move. How come nobody saw it at that time? Then, now he is pouring water. Now, when you pour water and create a batter for idli, right? Then what happens? Have you seen a cockroach in water? It floats to the top and then is moving its leg and struggling to get out of the water. Anybody observe these things? Yes, sir. Alright. Now, when the water is put in and the batter is stirred and then cockroaches come to the top and it's visible, even then nobody saw it. Nobody saw the cockroach or cockroaches? Not one, he said cockroaches. That means plural. Not one cockroach, many cockroaches. So they didn't see. Okay, let's say, now the vessel is not like, say, 50 feet wide diameter. It will be a small vessel, maybe 8 inches, 6 inches diameter, that's all that it will be. No? So the cockroaches, while swimming through the batter, will come to the side of the vessel, the solid wall, and try to climb out of it. Correct? So there it would be visible. Not visible. Okay. So now what's the next step? How do you make idlis? Anybody? Put it in the mold. So they're putting batter in the mold. How do you put the batter in the mold? With a spoon? So from the vessel, you take a spoonful, put it in the mold. You still can't see anything? No cockroach? Okay. Let's say you didn't see. So all the molds are filled in, then it's put into the steaming vessel, right? Now imagine yourself being put in a nice idli mold and then you go into a nice container and being steamed. Won't you get agitated? So when that, won't the cockroach also get agitated? Whose life is not precious? To us, a cockroach is repulsive, we want to kill it. But does the cockroach think it is repulsive? The cockroach doesn't think so. So it will try its best to save its life. So it will try to climb out on the side walls of the vessel, steaming vessel. Still nobody saw anything? Okay. Now the idlis got steamed, ready to eat, right? So you open the vessel and the cockroach, according to the photograph, right on top of each idli, like a cherry you put on a cake. So, now how do you take the idli out of the mold? Right, you need a knife where you scoop it out gently so it doesn't break. So when you're doing that, you have to do it carefully, right? So you still can't see anything? No cockroach? Okay, now they put it in plate. And all the idlis are set in plate, and that bearer, that cook, whoever, carries the plate to the dining table in the dining room. Now while he's walking, he's not got his eyes closed. Right? Now he takes it to the table. And of course all the family is sitting there to eat. Right? And so they pick up the idli and put it in their plate. They can pick it up with a spoon or by hand, anything. Now when they're picking up the idli and putting it in their plate, they still can't see anything. Okay, then they say, we ate. And we ate a cockroach. Unbelievable. So, as they kept saying, then they said, we will write to all the authorities in the government, in the Food Safety Standard Authority, the FDA, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Consumer Court. We'll tell all the media, yeah, that Gits idli mein cockroach hai. And they, when we told them, and they did not bother to compensate, that they had all sorts of threats. So what should we do? Yes? See, now I told you the whole story. So now at least tell me what I should do. Okay. So we told them, you complain wherever you like. We are ready to vindicate our position, and because we have done nothing else, we have sent you the report of an independent laboratory. We have sent you also the fact that our own control samples are clear. The products which we withdrew from the shop also are clear. And therefore we find it very hard to believe that the cockroaches came from a pack. Now, what are the alternatives? Where would the cockroaches come from? How many of you, I don't know about the boys, but at least the girls, when you go home, how many of you help your mothers or whoever it is in the kitchen? All of you? Great. Okay. Do you see cockroaches in the kitchen? Yes. Is there in every kitchen, however much you take care, cockroaches are a very tough breed. If there is a nuclear war, scientists say, all human beings will die but cockroaches will survive. They are that tough. So everybody sees cockroaches in the kitchen. Now if there are cockroaches present in the kitchen, where would they hide? Sometimes if you leave some ordinary glass jar or a vessel or a tray open, cockroaches get onto that, especially if there are some tiny particles of food on it. So cockroaches are wandering around. Could it be that in the vessel these people were using to put the thing, there might have been some cockroach there? We don't know. So this is all now only conjecture, that it's possible that it could be there, and of course that fellow blindly putting everything in, and that's how it could come. It's only guess. My belief is that there were no cockroaches. Neither in his house, in his kitchen, nor while he was making the idlis. This was merely a dishonest trick to frighten a very reputed, worldwide reputed company into giving them money. That is all there was. And they said if we make threats like this and say we print in the media and we send cooked up photographs, they'll get frightened because nobody wants bad publicity, so they'll pay. That is why he started with a 5 lakh demand and came down to 2 lakhs. Then when we ended up paying nothing and we said you complain to whoever you like, guess what? No complaints. Nothing. End of story. In the same way, one so-called NGO in Gujarat, this is of course many years back, sent a letter to us, snail mail, saying that Gujarat High Court has passed strictures and orders against our company and products, and Therefore, it's a very serious matter and we should pay them 1 lakh rupees. Now, NGO, talking about a High Court order. So what should we do? Now think, what should we do? Pay up. High Court, what choice do you have? Pay? No. Look at your fellows, they tell me don't pay. They say I'd rather go to jail. No, what should we do? Okay, we won't pay. But what should we do? We should do something, no? Yes?
Physical proof and with physical proof we want reason why should we pay.
What do you mean by physical proof?
Means the warrant which is being issued by the court.
Yes, that's exactly what we did, right? We asked that NGO that if you say there is a High Court order, please send us that High Court order. After we go through it, we'll be able to understand what is the issue and then we'll decide what is the appropriate course of action. Guess what? They never replied. So it was another attempt to frighten company and extract money. So there are people of this kind also, but in the last, say, from 1963 to 2015, there are hardly 3 or 4 such instances. Other than that, nobody has attempted it. In fact, some consumers are so nice and they are so happy with the fact that we reply to them immediately, we apologize, we talk to them on phone. They say, this much is enough, please, we don't want any replacement, we don't want any money back, we like Gits, we'll continue to buy Gits. We just thought we should tell you because we are regular customers of Gits and we thought if we find something unsatisfactory, we should tell you. That's the kind of loyalty we build, and that is only because of good actions. You should have that belief and faith that regardless of what it costs you, the customer is always right, even if he is wrong. So that's how we do it, and that is why Gits is where it is today. And I believe other companies do not respond in this manner. And believe me, on certain occasions when I find any unsatisfactory product, they do. Yeah, and I have attempted to complain, and the kind of responses I have got are horrifying. Now that means in India, customers or consumers are only given lip service. Yes, customer is king, customer is always right. But when you try to get something, you make a complaint, what kind of response do you get? Okay, now I've told you all about Gits response. Why should you believe me? Will I say anything bad about my company? I'll always say how wonderful I am and how wonderful my company is. Why should I say anything that is bad about my company? But how are you believing this? Where's the proof? Nobody asked me for proof. That you are saying you do all these things. Yes, very nice, we heard you, but where's the proof? I didn't bring any proof. So how are you believing me? Okay, that's what I'm coming to now. You write to the company from any part of India or the world and say that you have got a complaint about any Gits products and see the kind of response you get. If you get the response I just told you, then you know what I'm saying is true. That is an open challenge. If you don't get this kind of response, but of course your complaint must also be truthful. You can't say I enjoyed the gulab jamun, but I'm complaining to anyway because I want another packet. But this is true. So now I've given you a little bit of insight. It's a competition, branding, this is what you say, no? Brand. So certain companies who have multiple products like Nestle's, Hindustan Lever, they've got so many brands. Look at the soap. How many brands of soap Hindustan Lever has got? Can anyone tell me? Which is the most famous brand of soap? Exactly. Which others? Pierce. Which other? Lakshi already said. Life Boy. And? Yes, yes. Great. Now notice, all soaps, each having a different brand name and identity. Now, I don't know if you are aware, Hindustan Lever has in the past years introduced many brands of soap, all of which have failed and they've quietly been withdrawn. Who remembers Lee Sansi? You remember it? Do you? Okay. So would you tell us what Lee Sansi was?
It was like duck.
It was a great big soap in that funny shape, and it was difficult even to hold in your hand. It was that big. And very good soap. So no question that the quality is bad. I'm not saying that at all. But despite their textbook marketing, in those days they were TV also. So they put these Hansi ads on TV, then they came buy two, get one free, big displays in all the shops, you know, and in cinemas and everything. Oh, great soap, very refreshing. See, when you have a bath, what refreshes you? The soap? What soap does is to clean off some dirt, if at all it's on your body, which ordinarily with water it won't go off. That's the only thing that soap does. Then it has, some of them are lightly perfume, they have some scent. So if you like rose or sandalwood or something, yeah, so that little fragrance remains on your body for a few minutes. It doesn't last for long. So those soaps which fail, like Lee Sansi, and why did they fail? Now, if you analyze the reasons for failure, anybody would like to try to analyze the reason for failure?
Because of size and weight?
That could be one reason. Any other reason? Anybody can think of anything else?
Utility of consumer means what a consumer is looking for. Size which matters a lot.
You talked about size. What could be the other reasons? See, what are the 4 P's of marketing? Okay, so you said product, only about size. You didn't say anything about quality. 2, price. Could it be that the price was not acceptable? Then what is the third? Placement. Now they had excellent placement. Hindustan has got tremendous depth in their distribution. So placement is never an issue, because placement would be a problem if you advertise the product and it is not available when consumers want to buy. That is why placement is important. So placement was there. Okay. Then promotion. Hindustan Lever does textbook promotion. So promotion was not an issue. Placement was not an issue. So what else could it be? So it could either be price, that could include packaging, it could be size like you said, it could be fragrance, that people didn't like the fragrance or whatever. But I would say in very realistic terms, that there was nothing wrong with the product. As a soap, it was a very good soap. It was as good as any other soap. Still, it didn't succeed. But, so there, I have developed my own theory. I'm not saying it's right, but maybe later on as you go on in life and get some experiences like I got, maybe you might think that here this man had come on a time and he told us this. Yeah, maybe he was right. Luck. Luck is 80% of business success, 20% is work. Okay, why did I say so? Can I stop now or should I continue? What? Stop. Fine. Next time. We'll continue the story next time. Oh, you want me to continue? Yes, sir. Oh, I thought you were looking so sad. You want me to go? Do you want to hear this? Yes, sir. Last story. Yes, sir. So, 20% work, 80% luck. You should teach this in the class. Achha, why did I say so? Can anybody try to think why do I say so? Okay, now try to think, at least in your generation, what products have you seen in the market? Good products, but suddenly gone off, disappeared, nobody knows what happened to them. Failed. Can you think of any? How many of you remember Tinopal? Fabric whitener. Okay. That was the point of giving you that example. But Tinopal had a virtual monopoly on fabric whitener. It's like you get a Jyoti Ujala. Remember they say you add it to the wash and then your white clothes become whiter. Right? The first whitener and which had a virtual monopoly was Tinopal. It used to come in a little tin, blue colored tin, this size. Then Alembic, I think it was in Gujarat, brought out a similar product called Rani Pan. And again, textbook marketing, shop displays, excellent product. Nothing wrong with the product. Advertising, the works. It failed. Now, product, placement, pricing, publicity, everything was right. It still failed. So what was that one factor which caused it to fail? If all these elements are right, why did it fail? Luck. If you say timing.
Differentiation.
Beg your pardon?
Differentiation.
No, there was no difference. See, a fabric whitener is a fabric whitener. Okay, what is the differentiation in soaps? Nothing. All they will say is the little bit of shape might be slightly different, but a soap is a soap. And they might add a different fragrance. That's it. But fundamentally a soap is a soap. Right? So, all these differentiations are only gimmicks. There is no real differentiation. So even today, products of this kind, okay, toothpaste. What differentiation? Okay, I find Colgate toothpaste very confusing. Do you? Or you have not even paid any attention to it?
Yes. Yes.
How many variants of toothpaste has Colgate brought out? Okay, at least you should remember one thing. Colgate ka chota packet. Who remembers that? Anybody? Hey, when were you boys born here? You don't seem to remember anything. Even recent things. What?
It is a small size Colgate. 10
No. See, ordinarily all toothpaste is packed in tubes. That came in a soft aluminum foil squeeze bag, not a tube. It wasn't a tube. You must be remembering that, right? Now, which is the company that has launched the product? Colgate. International brand. Very well known. Having almost 80% market share in India with all their toothpaste that come in tube. So, where is the question of Colgate toothpaste failing? Never, it cannot fail. Any product launched by Colgate cannot fail. That's what we would ordinarily think. Then, why did this fail? Now, again, product, price, promotion, placement, what is the distribution of Colgate? Any Panwala has got Colgate toothpaste. Huge distribution. And publicity, they didn't spare any expense. Right? So, what was the factor that caused this to fail? What they thought was that this will go as a kind of a travel accessory, a kit, because you would want to carry a big, heavy tube of toothpaste. So this is light, convenient, and for short journeys, you can use this. Second, they thought it will be very attractive to children. So advertising focused only on like family, parents, and small kids, everybody like together having great fun with Colgate ka chota packet. That's how they described it. Colgate ka chota packet. And where is Colgate ka chota packet now? Nowhere. It's gone. It failed. So think, if companies like Nestle, Hindustan Lever, Colgate and other well-known companies, if their products can fail when they are so well established, what is that factor which causes it to fail? Okay, let's leave that aside for a minute. Let's see if we are in the market, see what is that factor. Let's see. Would you say that other than Gits, nobody has any technical know-how, technology about manufacturing food products? Only Gits has this know-how? Everybody has. Only Gits has money? Everybody has it. Those who want to do business have it. So, know-how is available, money is available, land building is available, machinery is available, expertise is available for branding, marketing, sales, everything, right? In spite of having all these points which a business requires to succeed, why is it that some succeed and others fail in exactly the same product, same quality? I'm sure you won't remember this, but you might. Brook Bond introduced an instant coffee just like Nescafe. If you remember, Nescafe used to come in the little tins, 50-gram tins, then they switched to bottles. So Brook Bond introduced an instant coffee exactly identical to Nescafe, in the same size of tin, same price range, excellent coffee. How do I know it's excellent coffee? Because I bought it and tried it. But it failed. Again, who is the company? Brook Bond. Kings in tea, excellent distribution, lot of marketing muscle, textbook advertising, everything was right. It didn't take off. And they had to withdraw it. Then they had to relaunch that product, which is still in the market. That succeeded. Brew. Brew is still there. So, what is that factor which causes a product or a company to succeed when exactly all the same know-how, financing, industry, machinery, expertise, it's all available to everybody? It's no secret. What know-how I have in Gits, you can very easily get the same know-how. It's available. You can buy it from anywhere. So, if you have everything handy and you got the kind of backing, intelligence, expertise, everything to support you, then why does the product fail? Or let's say, because the product fails, the company fails with it. Why? So, 20% are these, see, factors: finance, know-how, manpower, human resources, and other things. Is 20%. What's the rest? The 80% which I say is takdeer. At least you understand what takdeer is in Naseeb. Now in English, I don't know what's the right word. So since the only word I know in English which relates to this is luck. So that's why I say luck plays a very, very important part in. Now do you remember when television came to India? How many brands of TV were there? Can anybody remember? Beg your pardon? Okay. What others? Sorry? Diane, okay.
Bush. Onida.
So Beltec.
Okay. What about Western? Western TV was there. Where are all those guys now? Why? They were making television. They had the know-how. They had the factories. They had the money. They had the distribution. They had the advertising. And they were actually selling televisions. What happened to them? Established successful companies. The only thing they ran out of, in my opinion, was luck. Otherwise, they could move to color TVs. They could have done various other things, like you get the models. Now then you see, first TVs had a big kind of a box you know, and the front screen, and there was a big box behind which had the picture tube. Now you started getting the flat TVs, yeah, and now you get a curved TV. You know, all sorts of new innovations are coming in. So they were into business. Then why did they fall down? So what possible reason can you ascribe to this? If you say, yes, they were incompetent. If they were incompetent, they would have not been successful to begin with. That means they were competent. They had no resources, but they had resources. Then what was that single factor which is intangible that nobody knows? It is takdeer. So remember, in any business, it is luck which actually causes you to succeed, because everything else is, everybody is equal. So what is that additional factor that works in your favor and doesn't work in somebody else's favor is luck. So I think now I've bored you enough. It's 6:30 and we started at 5. So I've been talking to you for 1.5 hours. And I told you so little. So maybe if you want some other time, I'll come and tell you some more stories. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed what I told you. Yes, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yeah? Any questions?
Good evening, sir. My name is Ankit. Your customer complaints redressal policy is no doubt very great and very humble. But is that the only factor that brought you to this level? Because India is a very conservative market. Even today we consider maa ke haath ka khana as the best.
Yes.
And mothers do not allow, means India is not a good market for packaged food. That is what the world perceives. So what is that made you a huge success?
I see, food is such an item, it has a lot of emotion attached to it. And like you said, maa ke khana is best. Even if your mother is a lousy cook. Because from birth you have been eating whatever she made, to you it's the best food in the world. And every man who gets married thinks his wife can't cook like his mother. And every woman who gets married tells her mother to teach her how to cook even if she is a lousy cook. But jokes aside, that's true. But you see, it's very difficult to change food habits. So there can be only two approaches in the food business. One, you give people what they are already eating and they want to eat in a convenient form, so that what you really do is giving the same product to take the drudgery and labor, time out of it. So what are we doing? We give idli mix. Now, if you want to make idli mix in the traditional way at home, if you want to make idlis, what is the process? You just salt in the air. Vidya Balan says, वो क्या है, पहले चावल को भिगाने का, फिर वो रात भर रखने का, फिर उसके बाद ही ऐसा super soft idli बनता है. That means, if you have an impulse to eat idli, you want to eat it now, and you want to make it. When you start the process, you can only eat idli tomorrow. So, how much effort you require? You have to buy the dal, the rice, then grind it, soak it, then allow it to ferment, and then next day you eat idli. It takes a lot of time. Right? But you don't have that time anymore. So you want idli and you want it now. So what did we do? We took the drudgery, we did it all for you, and we gave you a pack that said just add water, put it in the mold, steam it, and you eat it. So what have we allowed you to do? We have allowed you to prepare the final product and claim the credit. Who made the idli? I made the idli. Nobody asking you what did you make it from. So, anybody ask you what did you make? I made the idli. You made the vada. You made the gulab jamun. See, you said it with so much pride. You make the gulab. Your family appreciates. This is one side. So where we are giving people what they are used to eating and want to eat, and therefore they will prefer to buy these products because of the convenience factor, the time, all these normal considerations that induce people to buy packaged food. Now look at the other side. There are different types of products which are not a regular food. How many of you eat breakfast cereals for breakfast? Yeah? I don't know what you eat here, but at least I want to know what you eat at home. Yes? You eat aloo paratha? Poha? Idli sambar? Khichdi? How people eat khichdi for breakfast? How about kebab? Okay, anyway, none of you eat breakfast cereals. Is that right? Cornflakes, wheat flakes, muesli, and different types of cereal combinations are now available. You don't eat those for breakfast, huh? So why not? What's wrong with those products? Nothing wrong with those products. Nothing wrong with you either. See, food habits are very hard to change. And you are always comfortable eating what you've always eaten for breakfast or lunch or dinner and not willing to try. So, Kellogg's came with cornflakes to India and they've been struggling to change the Indian breakfast table, so to speak. So they say that for breakfast, whatever else you want to eat, you eat, but you eat cornflakes. So they are doing all sorts of gimmicks, trying to promote cornflakes, which is a foreign food for breakfast in India, and therefore it's not yet widely accepted except in a few of the big cities. Okay, let's see some product which I'm presuming all of you are already eating. Maggi noodles. Yes. Everybody eats Maggi noodles? Yes. But noodles are not our food. If anything, you can say pasta is of Italian origin, and actually it is not even of Italian origin, it is of Chinese origin. Marco Polo took it back with him from China to Italy, and then it became known as an Italian product. But all of you are eating Maggi noodles. But you are not willing to eat cornflakes. So, what is that which induced you to eat Maggi noodles? It's something different. You may treat it as a snack. You know, it's not a main meal. It's tasty. It's not that cornflakes are not tasty. But you are eating Maggi noodles. My daughter, when she was in school and in the hostel, they used to see, one thing I learned, students, two problems. They're always hungry and they're always broke. So what they would do is that in the hostel, they would buy these packets of Maggi noodles. Now you need to actually put them in, it's a 2-minute noodle, you need to put it in hot water. But there's no hot water. So what they would do is to take a bottle of drinking water cold, keep it by their bedside, and when lights out, they would put the blanket over their heads. And in a glass, they would open the pack, put the Maggi and put cold water. And eat it with cold water. Imagine, now Maggi noodles are not our food, but they have become widely accepted. Now you can imagine that last 30 years Maggi with Nestle has been doing high pressure advertising, pushing. They get celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan to talk about it. They're bringing so many variants, wheat noodles, atta noodles, all sorts of stuff in order to show the health angle, because ordinarily noodles are regarded as junk food. So they want to remove that junk food label, so they're trying to bring in the health. They say taste me, health me. If you see the Maggi noodle ads. Now you have learned to eat Maggi noodles. It's not part of our food at all. Yes, I eat it sometimes, I also enjoy it. But because I've traveled overseas so much, and I've learned to eat a lot of other food which is like, say, foreign, not Indian food. So to me it doesn't seem like something strange anymore. Okay, Chinese food. How many of you eat Chinese food? Everybody. You go to Chinese restaurant, you might even be making it at home. Right? Why? So, over a period of time, when there is certain similarity of taste, and the Chinese food has been Indianized. Maggi noodles has been Indianized. How has it been Indianized? It is made spicy, and they give you that masala pack and so on. But cornflakes has not been Indianized because it cannot be. How can you Indianize cornflakes? We put masala. This is not a breakfast cereal anymore. So, when you're looking at a category of food, see, one, as I told you, give people what they're used to eating and take that forward. On the other hand, you can take up a line where you will have to convert people to start eating what you are wanting them to eat, which is a very long and very hard and very costly process. So only the big companies can do it. So can you imagine anybody else having brought in noodles would be as successful as Maggi? Do you know how much money they have spent on only publicity? And if you read the papers, you will see from there that the moment they slow down their advertising, the sales drop. And they go into high power advertising again, the sales pick up. So it is a product that is selling entirely on high pressure advertising. Nothing else. But now because you adapt it to the taste, even if Maggi doesn't advertise so much, those of you who got hooked to the product will still buy and eat it. Believe me, in the last 30 years, I never once ate Maggi noodles, not once. But when my daughter graduated and came back from school, she had already acquired that habit. She was hooked. So at home she would make noodles and I would wonder, what is this, what is that? She would, Papa, please taste it. It's very tasty. So I tasted it. I said, it is really tasty. And I said, okay, and now I don't mind eating noodles. It's nice. So once in a while now, maybe once in a month, in 2 months, whatever, when my wife is feeling tired about cooking, so she gives me Maggi noodles. But, so this is a tip to all you girls. See, you will get married now. So if your husband says, give me biryani, say, take Maggi noodles. Okay, anyway. So these are the two categories that your question was that how it is done, that there are these aspects and there are so many interrelated aspects to this kind of business that it's not possible to tell you everything in a few minutes. You have to go through it, learn and think. See, above all, I would say these kind of institutions, basic purpose and function is to teach you to think. Think and analyze. Any situation, anywhere, think and analyze. For example, just think, you want to climb a mountain, right? So what would you do? Now, unless you think, you say, okay, if I have to climb a mountain, I don't know anything about mountain climbing. Then, what gear would I need? What kind of training would I need? How much duration of that will be there? Then, where can I practice? Then, which mountain peak should I aspire to climb? See, all these questions you have to think, analyze, build. And then, see, I'm sure you must be having those books by Malcolm Gladwell. These are things that you should read. I would say you will learn a lot from them. Anyway, if there are no more questions, then it's, oh my God, it's 6:40?
Yes, sir.
Boy, you guys really got me here, haven't you? Okay, anyway, thanks a lot for all that, for being such a good audience. I enjoyed talking to you and I hope you enjoyed listening to me.
Yes, sir.
You meet people who forget you. You forget people you meet. But sometimes you meet those you can't forget. Those are your inspiration. And one such inspiration for all of us is Mr. M A Tejani. Sir, I would like to extend a heartfelt gratitude for your fruitful guidance on FMCG sector, which has thrown light on many newer areas which was still uncovered by the fresh generation. As we are all heading towards our summer internship, the suggestions unraveled by you are surely absorbed by our students for successful execution. We are also very thankful for the investment of your time for our students. On behalf of the IIBM family, I request our Managing Director, Mr. Jt.Managing, to present a memento to Mr. Tejani as a token of our appreciation.